we are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Ghost. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you're listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. It's an early edition here on a Friday, June 29th. That's Goes. I'm George, and Danny's back east. We are live, and we're going to crank another one out here before Goes and I head to California for Bellator 201. We'll be in Temecula, California. If you'll be out there, let us know. Be nice to see some old friends, make some new friends. Headline bout tonight is Ilima Lei McFarlane defending her belt against Alejandra Lara, and Extreme Couture's Ryan Couture is featured in the co-main event versus Syed Awad. All right, Goes. So we got one day to breathe and catch our breath. World Cup is taking the day off. What do you think so far? We're kind of like at the halfway point. From here, it's just elimination games. There's no more group play or anything like that. 16 countries have gone home.
I have not liked it as much as I've liked it in previous years. I thought there have been pretty good games, but the way the groups weren't too exciting, the way they were laid out, I know that's not their fault. And the times, kind of suck. With it being Russia, and then just not having Italy, not having the U.S., not having Holland, that was rough. So it hasn't felt the same. But now that we're in the knockout round, it's going to get pretty interesting starting Saturday. Those are some big games. Argentina and France. And then you got
Uruguay and Portugal on the same day, man. That is some ball in there.
Great, right?
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Also, happy birthday to our father. In fact, that's the other part of the equation. That's actually the main equation. We are going out there to see our father. It's his birthday. And take in some fights. So, I don't think he's listening live, but I think he catches us on the replay the next day because he's an early riser. So he'll hear this at some point, but happy birthday, Pops. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Two fighters are feeling that whole Junkie Karma thing. Junkie Karma is up to 61-14. So I know a lot of you are probably like, all right, what's going on again? So fighters that do this show on the day of their fight, it's just the only thing that qualifies is that we spoke to them, and I would say a minimum of 3 questions. How you feeling? That's an easy one. You ready to do this? What's your prediction for tonight? It's not like it's a really complicated interview. It's just, it started off with something else, and I don't want to bore you with the details, but we started keeping track because somebody just pointed out, wow, the first 10 fighters that did the show on the day of their fight won all their fights. So we backtracked, looked them all up. Yeah, we're 10-0, made a big deal out of it. Now we've kept track. 10 years later, we're 61-14. So 75 people have soaked in Junkie Karma. It didn't go the way of 14. But it has gone the way of 61. But here's the last few. In 2018, Lorenz Larkin, he took us to 59-14 at Bellator 193. I think he may have fought the Menifee Maniac, Fernando Gonzalez. Or maybe it was someone else. 60-14, we went on June 1st when Walt Harris won at UFC Fight Night 131. So that was just earlier this month, 3-4 weeks ago. The Utica card with Moraes and Rivera. And Tuesday Night Contender Series. I apologize. Robert Watley, Professional Fighters League. 621. So the last one, yeah, PFL 2. Oh, that was controversial. That was the kick in the nuts to Thiago Tavares, which really should have been ruled a no contest. Or in reality, I think Tavares could have gone. His time just expired. Whatever. But a win was registered. We can't do anything about it. It's not like the Illinois Commission that consults us, or we consult them. All we do is look and see who won and who lost, and then we add it here.
Yeah, what do you want from us?
61-14 now, with the possibility to go 63-14 because there's 2 fighters, and that's why we're going to break early. We'll break here in about a minute, just because with the fighters and their urgency, I don't want to all of a sudden be up against the clock at the end of the hour. But Christian Aguilera, not Christina Aguilera, Christian Aguilera is fighting in MMA tonight. He's headlining LFA in Arizona. So that's Access TV. You can catch that's Channel 340 if you have DirecTV. He'll be headlining that card. And I've seen this kid grow through the Bama organization, Bad Beat series. We've called his fights. We've seen his fights. He is from, I believe, Whittier originally, but I know he trains out of Tustin now. And he's been doing his thing. And you know, LFA has been a springboard to the UFC for many years, and that's what he's hoping. So we'll catch up with him in a few minutes, and then following him will be Ryan Couture, who, as I mentioned earlier, he'll be in the co-main event slot against Syed Awad. Back-to-back. Now, the Extreme Couture gym is very familiar with this because a few years, no, last year, I think it was Brad Tavares, I got it here, and Gray Maynard on 7/7/2017. They took us to 58-14. They both won on the same day. So Eric Nixick, one of the brightest minds in the game, he's sharp. He knows what's up. Any advantage his fighter can get, aside from the preparation, that hay in the barn that they talk about, or the better weight cut, or the better rehydration, you can add to it by sprinkling in some junkie karma.
Do you think MMA fighters are as superstitious as some of... Baseball is probably the most superstitious, right? They'll wear dirty hats, same socks, that sort of stuff. I don't really see too much in football.
I would say baseball's the
worst.
There was a guy named Will Clark. He might be a manager now. But Will Clark was the first baseman for the San Francisco Giants. He would report to spring training, and I think on the bill of his hat or somewhere in his hat he would just write WC or Clark or something, his number, and that was his hat for the year.
Yeah, Eric Gagne had a terrible one too.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's horrific. You know, because he's an everyday player. At least your guy Gagne was a closer, so that means he didn't pitch every day. Well, I take it back. I guess you can if you're on a roll or the team needs you. But, you know, there's sometimes where the starter can go the whole way or the middle relief can just finish it. If it's not a competitive game, you want to rest that guy. But anyway, Will Clark, he was one of those guys that really didn't miss games. So that's nasty. But what can you do?
Do you remember?
What are you going to tell him? He was like an all-star and did he win a world title? No, he was on that Giants team that lost to the Angels.
Do you remember the Giants team Giants player that I hated the most? Because
Bonds?
of you?
Me?
Yeah. Which I will tie into something else. Yesterday, Toys R Us closed its doors.
Hey, is Danny playing 2 Years for Fears right now?
Are you, Danny?
Oh, he is. Okay.
Oh.
He's telling us we got to go to commercial.
We do?
Yeah, say that. Yeah, because we got to do these guys quick. They wanted early morning. Remember, they fight tonight, man.
Oh, okay. I thought one was at 15.
Well, one's at 10 and one's at 15.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. You really want to tell that story? If not, I could have Danny call Christian Aguilera now.
Go for it. I'll tell
All right, let's do that. Take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to Christian Aguilera. Ryan Couture, and then we'll have some time to breathe. Ghost can tell a story, and we can talk a little bit about all the latest news out there in mixed martial arts. There's a big clusterfuck with Iaquinta and Vic and Felder and Mike Perry. We'll sort all that out for you when you come back, but I think you'll be happy with the result.
We will find you acting on your...
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been, and because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
SiriusXM is hosting an intimate night with Tim McGraw and Dixie Norms at the legendary B.B. King's Music Hall in Times Square. We have your chance to be there. One grand prize winner will win a trip for two and the tickets to see this very special show. For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/McGraw before July 18th. No additional purchase is necessary. Tonight in Phoenix, Arizona, it's LFA 44, the Comerica Theater, to be more exact. Christian Aguilera headlining versus Matthew Frinku. It's LFA 44, and you can watch the fights on Access TV. The main card starts at 9 p.m. Eastern 9 p.m. Eastern start time. Joining us now on the hotline is Christian Aguilera. What's up, Christian? How you doing?
Hey, doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. So we'll make it a quick one. The point is just for you to soak up some junkie karma, because fighters who do the show on the day of their fight are 61-14. That's over 80%. And plus, you're an OC guy like us, so we're favoring you. You know what I mean?
I feel you, man. I feel you.
Plus, I mean, I don't know that you really need it. You've been starching people at LFA. As the competition got tougher, you just really rose to the occasion at the right time. You got 3 wins in a row. All three have been stoppages, 2 of them in the first round. I mean, right now, things are clicking for you.
Yeah, man. This year's been working out pretty great, and just got to keep the train going.
To what would you attribute this awesome 2018? And that 3-0, by the way, is just in 2018.
Yeah. Definitely into my coaching, man. My coaching, my teammates over at Team Oyama Classic Fight Team, Raw Talent Boxing. these guys are putting in time with me every single day. We're working on the fine details of my game, working on the small things that separate the good guys from the really good guys, and that are able to open up these opportunities in fights that I could like get the finishes and get put on big performances.
Well, I've seen the interviews, Christian. I think you felt like you've put in the time. You got a win streak, and LFA has been a springboard into getting fighters into the UFC. So we want to wish you good luck in tonight's fight. We'll be tuning in. LFA is a quality show, and Access TV has great production. But I got to tell you, man, just getting the preview together, typing out your name, my damn computer, Google. You don't know how, and I know you know this, but man, that Christina Aguilera is a pain in the ass. She's got to be a pain in the ass in your career because typing out your name or sending it, I'm always getting autocorrect. I'm sure you deal with this all the time, right?
Yeah, that's where all the fights from my childhood came from. People call me Christina Aguilera one too many times.
All right, my man. Well, listen, go out and do your thing, all right? Thanks for joining us on the show today.
All right, thanks for having me, man.
All right, we'll see you. There you go. That's Christian Aguilera getting sprinkled some junkie karma.
The second you said it, I got scared because this program does the same thing, and I was kind of in a rush this morning, and luckily it was okay.
I typed it 3 times.
Yeah, I had to do it a couple times.
I was looking for Sherdog Topology, Wikipedia. Any of those have the record, you know. And I kept getting like something about Christina Aguilera and a new album might be dropping or something. I don't know. And then I think I was looking for Twitter as well, and same thing. It just and then I even looked, and it says, "Did you mean to say Christina Aguilera?" So that got me right, but it still was telling me, "Did you mean to say this?" And I get it. But it should still tell me, "Here's all of Christian stuff." But by the way, did you mean to say this? And instead, it was I had typed in Christian correctly.
Did you put MMA at
it
the end?
still say, "Did you mean to put it?" And it still had Christina Aguilera stuff. So regardless of whether I put it right or wrong, like you had to go almost to the second page to find a Twitter handle. Oh, by the way, his Twitter handle, if you want to give him a holler, it's at DatBeastChris. All right, from one fighter to the next. This one's featured in the co-main event slot at Bellator 201 tonight. Remember, Paramount's got you covered. It's channel 241. If you have DirecTV like us, he'll be facing Syed Awad. It's Ryan Couture. What's up, Ryan? How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Ooh, sounds like you just woke up. Was that a yawn?
Yeah, I'll probably be doing that all day, though.
All right. What is your fight day ritual, by the way?
Just kind of relaxing. Try not to burn too much energy and get some good food in me and stay focused.
So is it hanging with people or listening to music? Will you pop in a movie? Will you go for a walk? How is it that you can burn these next 8 to 10 hours?
I don't think I've done any and all of those things before, so I've got lots of good people in town today. I'll probably just hang and take it easy with them.
Is there a special go-to meal for you?
No, you're in a different place every time, so you always just kind of got to make do with whatever the best option is wherever you're at.
Is the best bet really to just go to a buffet? Because they kind of got, some of these buffets are fancy, and the pachanga's pretty fancy. So you can tell the guy back there, hey, make me a pasta or slice off some of that turkey. You know what I mean? As much as people bash on buffets, for a fighter, is that your best bet? You can create your own salad or something?
I think I don't have the self-control to try and do that because I'd eat myself sick if I went to a buffet.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, listen, I'm sure Eric's told you the fighters that appear on the show are 61-14. We call it junkie karma, so hopefully some of that junkie karma, you're feeling it right now as we're talking. Let me have Go say a quick message to you before we let you go because we like to keep them quick on fight day.
Ryan, I know, Vegas is not that far away from California. How many people are traveling out there? Are you going to have a pretty large contingent?
Yeah, we're going to have a good-sized group. We've got some family that lives in town, too, so I'd say we might have 20, 25 people. 40, you think? Oh, wow. I guess we're going to have like 40 people coming. So
do you remember back in the Tough Enough days how loud his crew could get?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool. So to see that in Pachanga. tell me a little bit about the liberties that you can take with a guy like Eric Nixick. You're the fighter. You're basically the star. Can you send him, how many like Starbucks route or trips can you send him on before he goes, hey man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to test that theory one of these days. That could be a fun game.
I think I would have beat that, George.
Great chance to punk the GM at Extreme Couture, right?
Right? Yeah, I said no
Make-
pickles.
Exactly. Run back and tell them I want another shot.
Mhm.
And what are you standing there looking at me for? You should be down the hallway
The
already.
problem is you got to come back next Tuesday, and then that's, I think, when Eric gets his revenge.
Right. Extra burpees and shit.
Yeah, we're going to end up back on the mat at some point, and that's not going to end well.
Well, listen, man. We did this whole show an hour early because we want to beat the traffic, and we want to head down to Bellator 201 and check out tonight's card. So we'll be seeing you live and in person. But we want to thank you for doing the show on Fight Day, and good luck tonight, Ryan.
Hey, my pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you guys tonight.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Thank you. All right. Back-to-back. Christian Aguilera headlining LFA 44 tonight. And Ryan Couture, the co-main event. He's in the co-main event slot versus Syed Awad at Bellator 201. So, both shows start at the same time. LFA, Access TV, Channel 340 if you have DirecTV. Or Bellator 201, which is the Paramount Network. That's Channel 241 if you have DirecTV. Obviously, you all have to check your local cable and satellite listings if you want to catch these fights. Now, I know that there's a lot of frustrations with Spike, now Paramount, and but they fixed that. Obviously, they just had that announcement earlier in the year. But if you have DirecTV, you can't watch the fights live at 6 p.m. Otherwise, if you have them only on cable, you may have to wait till 9. But again, check your local listings for that. You also have Elimale McFarlane, who will be defending her belt against Alejandra Lara. So that's the women's flyweight division.
You want to hear the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Start over again for those that might just be tuning in.
This is the San Francisco Giants. I hate them. I
That's
loathe
right.
them.
Okay.
Okay? But there's one player in particular that I hate more than anything.
Who were you
More
rooting
than
for
anyone.
in the series then when it was Angels versus Giants?
I mean, when I was a kid, it's like there wasn't really a rivalry between the Angels and the Dodgers that much because we were their daddies. So it's kind of like Clippers, Lakers. So you didn't really have that like hate, at least not from me. Plus, I was pretty young. But my whole thing was this: George used to have posters on his wall, and George would take me. He's 9 years older than I am, so he'd take me to Toys R Us, who, by the way, closed their doors yesterday. He'd take me quite often, and one of the games he used to play was he would tell me, "What team does Roger Craig play for?"
Oh.
So I used to be stupid, and I would go, "The San Francisco 49ers, of course. Woohoo! I'm going to Toys R Us." And then he'd go, "No." And then he'd unwrap this stupid poster that he had on his wall, and he'd go, "Roger Craig plays for the San Francisco Giants."
He was the manager.
And then I would go, "Oh, okay." And then, a week or two, he'd wait, and he'd do it again, and I'd go, "The San Francisco Giants." And then you'd go, "No, he plays for the 49ers." And it would screw me, and I fucking hated that poster so much. There was that, and they used to do that with somebody else, too.
Yeah,
With
I'd say
another
stuff
player.
like, hey, here's a buck if you tell me what time the Jets play. And he'd go, "Oh, yeah, they're playing the Eagles at 1 p.m. And
No
I go,
internet, by the way. I had to go find a newspaper, flip through it, get
And I
this
go,
answer.
nope. I go, the Winnipeg Jets, they host the Kings tonight at 6 p.m. Ah, man, get all pissed off.
Livid.
My mom would get pissed off at me for teasing him. In the end, I think he'd still get the money. But, yeah, that was the game that I'd play with young goes. Trying to tell him about all the different... Can you name all the different teams that share a nickname? Pro, the Big Four?
The Big Four. Well, obviously the Jets is one of them.
Are the Winnipeg Jets even around?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just played the
That's who they
the
played?
Knights.
Okay.
There's no Eagles. It's tricky now because now there's like WNBA and stuff like that.
No, forget about that. Just NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL.
I don't want to look up at the board. So
Yeah, don't bring up WNBA, man. I didn't say the big.
Well, you never know.
The Big 40. That's not even in the top 40 of.
Giants. because
New York and San Francisco.
yeah, so that's 2.
I gifted you the Jets. I don't know if you would have remembered that one.
Giants and Jets. Well, yeah.
It's tough on the spot, huh?
Technically,
don't you just want to go the Bears, the Lions, and the Tigers?
Don't the Chiefs? Because technically, wasn't there like an NBA team that used to be the Chiefs or something like that? You're not gonna play a game, right?
No, it's current.
Current. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to sit there and go.
I don't know the answer.
division.
I used to know the answer a long time ago. There was 6 at that time, yeah. So in the NFL, you have, there ain't no other 49ers, there ain't no other Saints, there ain't no other Falcons, there ain't no other Patriots, Jaguars. Yeah, I bet you there's 5 at least.
Yeah.
We'll look it up during a break or something. Yeah, Roger Craig. So Roger Craig was their manager, goes. That's the only thing he got wrong. He was the manager of the Giants. Yesterday, they sorted out a big mess. It started like the day before, but in 2 weeks, in about 10 days, Boise, that fight card out there, I think it's UFC Fight Night 132, with Junior Dos Santos and Blagoy Ivanov. On that fight card, Paul Felder was supposed to fight James Vick. However, the August card in Nebraska that was to feature Al Iaquinta and Justin Gaethje, they came across a problem. Al Iaquinta, at least on social media, was very clear that he wasn't fighting. But I think we were all like, oh, it's that game he plays. He likes to butt heads with UFC and Dana White. I'm sure that if they're saying it, a contract must have been signed. But apparently he's not fighting. Tickets were going to go on sale in Nebraska, and so they needed to scramble. So they pulled off Vic from that fight card in Boise, and they said, you're now fighting Justin Gaethje. Well, I'm sure they asked him. He said, all right. So now he gets to headline his own card. Is Gaethje more high profile than Felder? Slightly, just because he's got a higher ranking. But Paul Felder's on the come up.
Champion.
You know what I mean?
PFL or World Series.
So it's not like that was a slap in the face fight. That was a great fight. Now, of course, as that's going down, Paul Felder goes, oh man, that's the second time that I've had a training camp and there's nothing that's going to happen. I'm sure he thought there was a 10%. I'm sure there was a 10% of them that thought maybe they can bring someone in, but there's a good chance I'm just out. You know, there's no fight here.
You could figure that out very quickly if you just went through the rankings. You could see that people were either taken up, or it just didn't make sense. It probably wouldn't have made sense for him.
Right. So now he's left without a fight. But yesterday, Yancy Medeiros pulls out of his fight with Mike Perry, a rib injury. I'm hearing. Now, I don't want to say fractured or broken or separated because I don't know. I remember reading it, and I think it was a broken rib, but I'm just going to go with a rib injury. So, Paul Felder, he's down. He's down to fill in. He's a big lightweight, but he's down to dabble and try welter and fight Mike Perry. And the reason it works is because now it's at welterweight, so he just allowed himself 15 pounds. Now the fight is 1 week sooner. It happens at UFC 226 a week from tomorrow. So that's what's going on. It's now Mike Perry versus Paul Felder at UFC 226 at welterweight. And the following week in Boise, you just lost a fight. Sorry. And then in Nebraska, headlining that fight card is Justin Gaethje versus James Vick. Al Iaquinta, I guess, is content with not fighting. I don't believe it's an injury. I just believe he was looking for another number to fight, a higher number.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we'll see him on a fight card sometime in 2018. I would have really loved to see Al fight 3 times in 2018 because if he was going to fight here in August, I thought, wow, maybe if he gets in on December, this can be a great year for him. Despite losing to Khabib Nurmagomedov, I thought he had a good representation of himself, and he made some money. And a lot of times when those guys make money, they can reinvest in their own camps, in their own careers. So I thought it was a nice turning point for him.
If you're Paul Felder, can it be negotiated? Say, look, we're fighting at 170, but I need this guy not to balloon up past this. Because, I mean, this is one of those divisions where when you go up, it's not 10 pounds. It's 15. Guys can get pretty big.
I'll be the promotion. You're Felder. You just asked me that. I could tell him, well, probably not. You came to us, and if you hang tight, we'll find you another fight. It's not like we're telling you, hey, see you in 2019. They may get him on that Nebraska card or on the Hamburg card, or which will suck for Paul, you know, but at least they're telling him we are looking to fill something in here.
But this has been all planned out because, you know, I haven't been able to do contenders. I've been in camp. You guys did this to me last time. Like, come on, man, throw me a bone. I've worked with you. I'll do the fight. I'll fight the bigger guy, but let's cap this guy a little bit.
Maybe, man, but I don't think Paul would do that. And I don't know that Mike Perry's a. I mean, he's jacked.
Pretty jacked.
He is jacked, but I don't know that he's like AJ, you know, where he's jacked and tall and just frames out over 200 pounds.
I think it should at least be asked.
He could.
If you get shot down, you get shot down.
Yeah. He could. Yeah, limit the other guy. So if Perry's weighing in at 170, hey, I don't weigh more than 182 or 183 on fight day. Maybe Perry goes
if you're
for
Perry,
it.
you read that, you probably go, man, I just want to fight. I don't want to miss out on this payday.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, hopefully we did a good job there of sorting that out. So Ally Quinta is not fighting in Nebraska. He's out. And Boise, you lost the fight. It's still a pretty damn good card, but that's a tough one to take if you're Boise. If I was Boise, with 10 days to go, I'd be like, yes, this is looking nice. You know what I mean? I haven't heard of anything, and it's a solid card. Let's take this break, and when we come back, we'll tell you who's on that card in Boise. We'll kind of reshuffle that so you're familiar with that. And so far, UFC 226, knock on that wood. So far, so good. The guys did conference calls yesterday. Holloway and Ortega, Cormier and Miocic. Everything sounds good, so we're almost there, everybody. The biggest fight card of the year, International Fight Week, headlined by Stipe Miocic, who defends his title against Daniel Cormier. We'll be right back.
Do what they say, and your life will be a lot better. Here are Gorgeous and Goes.
Pay attention, Goes. Here we go. The Killers are playing a private show for SiriusXM subscribers at the Stephen Talkhouse in the Hamptons, and we have your chance to be there. One grand prize winner will receive a trip or two and tickets to this very special show. For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/thekillers before July 18th. No additional purchase necessary. I know they're not your favorite band, but I think they're in your top 10, right? And they're Vegas
there's
based.
so many of them. I don't know, but I've never seen them live. I had one chance, and I even had tickets and everything, and I couldn't because Frank Trigg fought that day.
Oh, yeah?
Here at Mandalay Bay.
That damn Trigg, always ruining plans. Well, there you have it. One more time, it's SiriusXM.com/killers. I mean, look, a trip or two. So the Hamptons is obviously Long Island, New York, and that's where all the rich people hang out there. So it's tickets for two to New York, basically, and tickets to the show and the airline. I'm sure they'll set you up in a nice hotel.
So much easier to win contests nowadays.
Is it?
Not to sound old, but yeah. Do you remember when we were growing up? You had to sit wait for the radio, wait for them to say call in at this or whatever, or you had to wait for a cue and a song or something stupid.
Now, there's nothing about the NFL entities or... Danny, can Goes and I sign up?
I mean, I was talking to him. I told him that there was a read that he needed to pay attention to today, and this was the one. I told him he would be excited for this one. I don't know. I mean, it says check the official rules at SiriusXM.com/thekillers. But
do you have those rules anywhere handy?
I don't. I can look them up. You know?
Yeah, look them up. So I think I'm going to fill one out. And if I win, I get to go to New York. New York's cool.
I saw a Maury Povich episode once with people who their job is just to sign up for contests.
And how do they do?
They do great. Phenomenal. Wow. Yeah, they have like garages full of stuff. Like sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like one guy was like, yeah, I have this giant piano. You know, I only have an apartment, but I mean, just stuff.
All right, so I used to listen to Kiss FM in L.A. at times. And I remember Rick Dees one time had a contest. I don't know if he gave away Laker tickets or what he did. But it was like caller number 8. And that was like one of the big morning shows in L.A. before Ryan Seacrest. I think even before Kevin and Bean, K-Rock. And all of a sudden, whoever won, that guy was kind of had this little giggle, like a cackle. And then Rick on the air kind of goes, oh, man, is this the... And they had a name like the Fandango Brothers. He goes, oh, man, it was this... He goes, these are the Fandango Brothers. God damn. And he started like kind of cursing a little bit. He had a guy in the
Rick Dees?
His name was, well, like, God damn it. Like, he didn't call him a motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
You could tell he was mad. And he had a guy, his name was Tall Paul. That was his producer. And he goes, Paul, you gotta, he goes, we're going to break or something. And then he came back and explained that there are people that are professionals at this, and the legalities protect them. And so those guys would just call into radio shows, and they would crowd the lines somehow. They had software to do that.
Wow.
And this was even really before any type of computer technology. It's just I don't know, maybe they worked for Pac Bell or something and just had the ability.
Tall, don't you just go, or Tall Paul was a woman. When I talked to him, I put him on hold. Now it's a guy. What do you want from me?
Well, I think Rick Dees would give him Frank Mirface and go. I mean, because it was, you think about those old buttons, Goes, that just light up.
Yeah.
Right? So if Tall Paul hit that and Rick Dees hit that, then he's now trying to get Rick Dees to believe that between and a female answer. I guess the Fandango Brothers could have had a female go, hi, I'd like to win the tickets. And then when he goes, you're on hold, then
yeah, that's what I would do. Just get your sister, hey, just say this is Clara or whatever.
I don't know how they did it, but
but I guess maybe when it comes to legalities, you could get away with saying, hey, we said Clara in whatever, Santa Clarita, but all of a sudden Paul from Ventura.
Well, I think they just said like caller number one, whatever, But now if you'll notice, I think in the official rules they say you cannot have one in the last 30 days under any CBS affiliate or any other type of Radio 1 or something like that.
If you ever go to a baseball game, look at the back of your ticket, and you'd be surprised at some of the stuff that you're not protected against.
I'll tell you what's going to change is the foul balls. Those fences are going to go, because I saw a special on Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, and guys and gals and kids were getting eye sockets busted up and
bloody noses.
It was bad, man. And so some of those have become permanent injuries, and if you get a chance, Google real sports brand gumball foul ball injuries or something.
Or bats.
Hopefully,
broken bats.
hopefully it'll lead you to the, it's one of the segments. They usually have like an hour show,
Right.
3 20-minute segments.
Hey,
Welcome, Dan. Tom, how you doing?
Good, good. I had the interesting thing about that story you said was tall Paul, and I'm trying to think. Do you guys know a Paul who's not tall or physically imposing or some sense? That's not really a name, because some names I feel like dictate the person, right? When you come across enough of them in life, you get enough of a sample size. All the Pauls I've come across are pretty tall.
I know one Paul that's like maybe your size.
Okay.
And he has a really, really weird face. And somehow
Is he small, Paul?
somehow he married somebody who also has like not weird, but just like picture somebody with like a long face marrying somebody with like a tiny face. And I'm just waiting for the day they have a kid because I want to see what happens.
I really hope they don't listen to the show because you probably just really narrowed him down there. There's no.
there's
Maybe
no
he's not
way.
talking about. Maybe he's talking
No
about another
way.
Paul.
I hope so.
After that description.
I wish I could point to that guy that I saw about 15 years ago at that massage
Remember
parlor.
Charita?
Oh, that was the big feet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
But
just
this guy,
chill.
it just made no sense that a 400-pound guy had a head the size of like this man. It was like that. And I kid you not, guys. Just picture a big old body and a hat. Kind of a little bit of a Martian voice, but I don't know what had happened to that dude, man.
Wasn't there a character like that on the Super Mario with John Leguizamo version, the real life Super Mario movie? Like they had in '94. Wasn't there a character they had like a shrunken head and he was like walking around like? Argh.
Damn, there's no way you would have thought that George saw that
I've
movie.
come to the conclusion that we don't see the same movies.
Definitely.
If George would have co-signed on that, I would have taken my headset off and just walked.
Well, I could barely watch that movie, and that came out of when I was a kid.
As Dan says, you know that movie with, and as soon as he says that, I just look at Goes.
Sometimes
or I hold
you
the
deserve
microphone
it.
because either Goes or Danny are gonna pipe in and go, "Yeah, man, that shit was crazy." I know I'm out of
Isn't that
it.
kind of like a weird face?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's like really smushed.
He's
like
chipper.
a
He's
little-
happy. Yeah.
Something.
Danny
got the
can
rules.
co-sign on you. He watches
You got the
corny
rules?
shit.
I got the rules. I wasn't. I was reading rules. I couldn't
yeah,
pay
what are the
attention.
rules?
and
What are
read.
the rules?
What am I co-signing for?
You
What's
watch
the movie?
corny movies like Dan?
What was the movie? I'll tell you if I liked it. or
Super
not.
Mario Brothers with John Leguizamo.
Oh, that was so old. It was. But
But you watched it, right?
I definitely saw it, like at least 3 times.
Jesus.
It had Anthony Hopkins or
What?
Ooh, those two good actors?
Are you
I'd watch
serious?
that
He's
then.
in that?
Dan. Who was King Koopa?
King Koopa was was it Dennis Hopper?
God
Dennis
damn.
Hopper.
Yeah,
I
I
knew
pulled
it was
that
somebody
out of
Anthony
nowhere,
Hopkins.
huh?
But not Anthony Hopkins?
I could see the cross there. I could definitely see the cross there. I get a little bit of out of that triangle, Bob Hoskins, and that's my kind of love triangle for faces I associate. So I could see where George would mistake that face wise.
All right, what are the rules, Danny?
So, do you want me to just tell you, or do you want me to actually give you the rules? Because
That's the same
you're not gonna
thing.
be happy. No.
They're long.
The rules, the eligibility is one thing, but the last thing dings you guys, and you can't do it.
Okay.
So you have to be
Give
21
us-
or older.
Give
you
us
have
the
to
ding
be,
part.
It says employees of sponsor UMG Recordings Inc. or any of the respective subsidiaries or affiliates, advertising or promotional agencies, retailers or distributors, or members of immediate family are not eligible to win.
Members of the immediate family of SiriusXM?
Well, that's what it means. They're one of the affiliates in this thing. So you can't win. I can't win. No one in your immediate family can win. Yeah.
Juliet could win.
She's
not my wife.
Spouses or domestic partners.
Oh, damn it. Okay,
They
she's
cover
out.
everything.
Break up.
Break up for a day?
Yeah.
All right.
You
so
do meet all the other requirements, though.
We'll take a 1 week break.
If you're smart, do it before Christmas.
We'll take a 1 week break.
You gotta do it before July 18th.
All right.
We'll take a 24-hour break. Well, she's in California, and so we'll call this a break if she's listening. Fill out that thing, Juliet, and then we'll figure it out. Or if not, maybe no. Yeah, that's it. All right. Let me update you guys on the cards. I threw out a bunch of cards out there. So there's been some reshuffling. Luckily, 226 isn't very impacted at all. Here we go. UFC 226. Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. Man, yesterday I got involved in a whole GOAT talk.
With who? With who?
They drag you down the hole?
Different people. Well, fucking take a wild guess.
Was it a Cormier GOAT talk?
Who's the mayor of Facebook? Let's
Jason
start.
Ford.
Yeah, we'll start with that.
All right.
And then there was a couple other chimers. I think there was a Joey Varner sighting, a Blake from Northern Cal sighting.
I just don't
It's
see
like,
how he's not.
We have a lot of
talk.
Jason friends. There's a Jason Fillmore and a Jason this and a Jason that. And anyway, well, Jason, I think the funny thing is Ford, myself, and Joey Varner all come to the conclusion we all have GSP as the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we go off into different tangents, right? My beef with Ford is he thinks that Cormier shouldn't even be considered. So does Buffalo Blue. And that's with a win over Stipe. That's how crazy these guys are. They're lunatics.
With a win?
Wow. With a win over Miocic, they still shouldn't be considered. He still shouldn't be considered. Because he lost to the greatest. And the guy they're not calling the greatest, by the way. He lost to one of the greatest 2 times. So I think what they're doing is dismissing the fact that one fight is a W on the record, the other one's a no contest. Cormier sat here and said he got me twice. He's not trying to play that game, right? He said it here on our show. But I don't like the fact, I've said this before, I really enjoyed watching John Jones and covering John Jones. I don't like the fact that he put us in this situation that we have to say, but talk about these tests, or hear about him running under a ring or something to hide or anything that you may have ever heard over time. It just would have been so much nicer if they hadn't put us in that position. Demetrius Johnson hasn't put us in that position, and he's an all-time great. GSP hasn't put us in that position, and he's an all-time great. Fedor hasn't put us in that position, and he's an all-time great. Right?
I mean, he hasn't, but most of his career was. It's not like he was under USADA for that.
It doesn't matter, but he didn't put us in
GSP,
that position.
But
yeah, he didn't put us in that position. BJ Penn, I think, had a mistake in that he didn't show up for a test, right?
Something like that.
I don't think it was anything where they said, we found something. I think he had an oversight. So I can honestly say BJ Penn didn't put us in that position. And any of the other greats that get mentioned. Even Hoist Gracie gets mentioned in conversations. He put us in that position, but no one argues that era of him at the Coliseum, or versus Sakuraba Part 2. I mean, everyone just talks about early Hoist Gracie in the UFC, and that's it. Whatever other greats there are, there's just a few of them that haven't put us in that position. Unfortunately, Anderson Silva's put us in that position, and so is John Jones. But, again, man, Jones beat Cormier. I realize that. I'm not stupid, right? But Jones won 1 world title, and that's it. And look at his career. Look at his career in the last few years. He hasn't padded onto that. This is when Demetrius has been great. Towards the end was when GSP has been great. A lot of those other fighters became great towards the latter stages of the career. And John Jones, he had the run. Hey, he beat former champions. Rampage, Shogun, Lyoto. All right, 2 of them went to middleweight eventually, right? Rampage got beaten by other guys as well. It's not like at the time it was like, oh, man, he beat Rampage? Shit. I mean, but a lot of people have beaten Rampage. A lot of people have beaten Shogun. And a lot of people have beaten Lyoto. So much that I take it back. Lyoto only went to middleweight. Then after that, he beat Vitor, he beat Chael, but those guys fought at middleweight. You see what I'm saying? So if you're going to sit there and pick apart, well, he was at Strikeforce, and it was a Grand Prix, and it was a this, and it was a that. Well, bitch, so was your guy. Your guy did some stuff out there that wasn't – the OSP win was a win, but, OSP hasn't reached the heights where you go, he beat OSP. No, he beat Cormier. You got to give him that. He's never lost. I'm even on the side that says, yeah, it's on his record. But we don't count that because he was kicking Matt Hamill's ass. He just happened to make a mistake. He did have some wins here and there. But in the last 4 years, I think he's only fought 1 time each year. And and so now if you look at the Cormier resume, Cormier's been a champ at light heavyweight. He's beaten some really, really tough light heavyweights, just like John Jones has. The only thing he hasn't beaten is John Jones. But he did win a Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix. He was undefeated at heavyweight. And if he beats Stipe Miocic, he will have beaten what some consider the greatest heavyweight ever. That counts for something. That has to count for something. Is it enough to offset that Jones beat him? once or twice or whatever card you want to play. I don't know. That's subjective. But he's in the conversation. He's got to be.
I think he's got to be in the conversation. But you have a few strikes that I never even really took into consideration with John Jones. But one that you didn't mention that I think about is what he did here in Vegas when he just decided, nah, I'm not going to fight. I just don't. That's not goatish. The GOAT doesn't do that, right? Michael Jordan, when he was sick, he played and had one of his greatest games of all time. When his dad passed away, played.
Now, someone could say that's nitpicking or picking a certain example, but
you kind of have to, though, right?
No, but I'm glad you didn't. Not only do you kind of have to, but it's a good reminder that there's so much more to this conversation, because a lot of the things that George was saying, which I feel, by the way, were true, but if we go to this whole thing where, back to the original point of this conversation, George's conversation with Ford, where I felt I had a dampering take on the Stipe Cormier fight on this show, whether it was this week or last week. I felt I gave a dampering take, but not even I can deny that if he beats Stipe, if DC beats Stipe, how much that really means. You know, when you could not just combine Cormier's resume, which you did a good job of going through, but Stipe's resume, which is also underrated, right? So it's hard to deny that first off the bat. But more importantly, in the more grander scale of this conversation, back to kind of what Go said by introducing other topics, as I think we get so caught up where the pound for pound talk becomes best resume. That's why, like, when I was doing top fives, I said, well, when I did top 5 resumes, I had this guy. When I had top 5 fighters, I had this, because there's two different things. And I think the pound for pound talk, it's so subjective, but as a hive mind, I think we all kind of float more toward resume. And the problem with that is we're kind of judging, oh, well, there's an imperfection there. Well, there's an imperfection there. Well, there's a... The key word is perfection. Not only does perfection not exist in life, but if it exists in any type of sport, MMA is probably on the last, right? Of sports we can predict, of sports we can have some type of quote-unquote close to perfect outcome. This is the last sport for that. Now, you know, you factor in not just the outcomes of the fights, but the personalities, right? Which is a big thorn in John Jones, and why he's not his quote-unquote rightful spot, because of his personal choices he's made outside of it, right?
I don't factor that in, man. I think it's got to be his athletics. The fact that he ran away from into the GOAT,
but it kind of factors it in the way Go said, right?
I
because
just like to say what was on the field in other sports and what was on in.
No, that's
in
like 99%.
Right.
There is 1% of me that says.
Well, if there's that, then for sure he starts to head downward a little bit more.
But his attitude is a part of what Go said, right? Like the pie chart as far as his attitude toward taking that fight, like that we're judging him not on, like, nobody thought whether he took the fight or not that he couldn't beat Chael or whoever else was proposed, or that he wouldn't be favored against anybody in the world. I think his detractors would have even given him that. No one was doubting John's skills, but it was his, like what Go's saying, it was his attitude, it was his, whereas BJ Penn, not as impressive of a guy, but also probably the last guy you're going to suspect for a drug test, but more importantly, the first guy is going to raise his hand and say, I'll fight, I don't care the weight. Now, his record's not going to, he's not remembered as kindly in history for that, but for someone like me, that kind of weighs more. But again, that's subjective. That's my version of pound for pound fighter.
I know we're running out of time. I like to look at it as I'm explaining it to a noob or a dummy that's never watched the sport. How can I tell them, oh yeah, he didn't want to fight this time because that guy's going to go, what? Why wouldn't he fight that guy? I thought he was the greatest of all time. What do I say? That's how I kind of look at it.
No, I understand. That's how these discussions become.
Right.
Start poking at the other guy and poking back, and it can be all in fun or it can be serious. But like I say, at some point I just start either the physical unfollow or the mental unfollow. People have to be lunatics to not say that if he doesn't beat Miocic,
you can't deny him.
You know, and then what's funny is I'm like, well, let me see your top 5, and then I see him and I'm like, I could poke holes all day there. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, just GSP alone, he lost twice. You know what I mean? He came back in revenge, but he did lose too. These are all great fighters, and they all have check marks for them and against them. Let's talk about this more when we come back. MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93. Jam right there. All right, we're back. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Big shout out to Chris from Seattle, hanging out here in the studio with us. Brought us some coffee. Take a quick sip.
Good.
That's good. He's taking his kid to what college?
University of Arizona.
The university. So he's going to be a Wildcat.
Yeah.
All right.
He gets his dorm and his classes next Monday.
University of Arizona. That kid looks excited, huh? He's got like his bag and he's got a polo shirt on. He's got a hat. He's ready to go down there.
Did you go through that bag, Chris?
Not yet.
No?
Not yet.
It's like Revenge of the Nerds. Closing it.
His other kid is a standout wrestler. He's age of 10, but he's taking down these tournaments out in the Northwest, so we'll keep an eye on him. Future MMA fighter, maybe?
Who knows?
All right.
I'm trying to get him to do some MMA, but
I got you. Let's take these calls, the daily debate, and then I swear to God I want to fucking get into this whole, I want to be Hater George into this whole GOAT talk. Some of you guys need to be sat the fuck down, and I'm going to do it too. But we'll start off with Dan in Oregon. What's up, Dan? How you doing?
I'm doing amazing, man. You guys, there's no way you could have caught it because you've been on the radio. I just saw a Fight of the Year contender with one championship, and they just had in Myanmar.
I really like Dan.
So do I. Hey, Dan, are you coming to the Junkie Gathering this year? I got to meet you, dude.
Fuck, in October, I might be able to swing it. We'll see what I can do.
I want to meet people
This dude
that went to high school with him.
Mixed martial arts.
And they go, yeah, he was super cool, and then he got into MMA, and he fucking vanished, bro. We have no idea what happened to him.
Shit, I still talk to my 8 buddies. I'm in a group chat with them right now, but all we do is talk shit to each other.
Do they like MMA?
Yeah, well, one of them has had probably 10 amateur fights.
Okay.
And he's probably the one that's most into it that I can bullshit it with, but they'll catch a big card maybe, a Connor or something.
All right, what's on your mind?
But this card, I'll just throw some names at you so you can go back and watch it. There's 2 fights you need to go watch. Rafael Nunes versus Tetsuya Yamada. This was a featherweight contest. And imagine Luis Smolka versus Patty Houlihan and how great those grappling exchanges were in that fight, the 3 rounds of madness.
Yeah.
It was that at featherweight, but you also get a fantastic finish. I won't ruin it for you, but go watch that.
Dan, you sold
the main
me.
event was insane. This crowd in Myanmar was nuts, man. And the dude's obviously a hometowner. He's the dual champion, middleweight and light heavyweight champion. This guy, Ken Hasegawa, however you pronounce his name, came in from Japan, got 10-strap beard, took it to him. It was a slobber knocker. Okay, for this one, if I'm going to compare it, probably Bigfoot Silva versus Mark Hunt, except for you are going to get a finish in the 5th round. And the fucking crowd went nuts, man. This is the best crowd I've seen since Whitaker versus Brunson when they were down there in Australia, New Zealand or some shit. They went nuts when he got the finish. Man, there's nothing better than MMA in the morning, especially when it's free on one championship. I love what the hell these guys are doing, man.
So I was just thinking of something here. The fights I know. The fights he's describing are no. I'm looking like do I need to? Oh no, he switched. Okay. The fights he's describing sound like they are money, right? First, let me welcome Brad Tavares to the studio.
Morning, guys.
Brad. How you doing?
We'll get him on in a second.
Oh, we'll get him on in a second. Okay. So, he's describing some kick-ass fights, right? He's comparing one to Smoka and Houlihan or whatever, and they happened at one championship. But you want to know what's funny, Goes? I was thinking, if those fights took place Tuesday night at Contender Series, we'd be coming in and going, the fucking UFC delivers again!
That's true.
You know what I mean? Or if it was on a fight card, 50,000 fight of the night. Yeah. The UFC, they find these gems. But because it happened at 1, and probably 1 in the morning, nobody gives a fuck. Except Dan from Oregon and a few others. Ain't that how the genius of marketing can just...
It is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if that fight had happened at Tuesday Night Contender Series, we'd all be talking about it.
We're snubs.
Yeah, I mean, it's those 3 letters, man. They're so powerful. I'm not doubting those fights were great, Dan. I'm glad you got up for them. And, you know, I'll go back to the archive. And I didn't write them down. I know you said Nunes was one of them, Rafael Nunes. So I'll find that fight and take a look. Just because if you're telling me that, then it counts for something, bud.
Him versus Yamada. And you know what? Not only do you know now, but everyone on Sirius and YouTube, they all know. This shit's free. Go post it on YouTube in like a second. So spend your time, man. This is better than the Tuesday Night Contender Series. No fucking joke.
All right.
I'll let you guys have a great time with Brad. Thanks for coming in the studio. Can't wait for the tough finale, man. I'm excited. Thanks to you guys. I'm out.
Okay. See ya. Brad Tavares, welcome.
What up?
Oh.
Can you guys hear me?
Brad Tavares, welcome again.
Hi. Oh, there we go.
How you doing?
What's up, guys? Sorry, it's a few minutes late. You know, Hawaiian time.
Oh, we know.
It's different. We can't say anything because this is the first time we've ever had him in as like the headliner. Mm-hmm. Now he can get away with shit like that.
Why?
You can basically do what you want. And you have a kid because all you have to. I told you, you have 1 year. You get 1 year. You can go, man, the baby was acting up. You know what I'm talking about. And I have to just kind of go, yeah, babies are crazy, man.
Bro, she actually was crying when I left because I was leaving, and that sucks. That always sucks. But
1 year you got, though.
I got her whole life.
How you feeling?
Feeling great. Feeling great. I finished. Camp is basically just about wrapped up. Yesterday was my last hard sparring, last push there. Everything went picture perfect. So, you know, ending on a really good note, high note. Weight is good. Everything is good right now.
Anything different about headlining a card versus just being on a card?
So far, nothing new yet. I mean, obviously, the only difference right now is the fact that the fight is 5 rounds instead of 3. But I feel like I'm always preparing for 5-round fights. You know, it's not like I ever just 3 rounds and done. Like, you always want to put yourself in that championship mindset. And so it's something that I've been doing for a long time now, training really hard and being in the best possible shape. I mean, we'll see fight night too, I'm sure that will take a little adjustments knowing that you got to fight 5 rounds potentially. But, I mean, up to this point, no, I feel like it's been the same as every other fight.
This came out in the public, so just hear me out.
Uh-huh.
About 2-3 weeks ago, we were hearing Brad Tavares might be hurt. He may not fight. And then we also heard the kid from Brazil was flying down. Thiago Santos as a possible fill-in. So if anybody was connecting the dots, they were like, well, I see. If Tavares can't go, maybe this guy fills in. And, of course, if something were to happen to Israel, then that would be the case there, too. But we never heard anything official from you as far as pulling out. And I've obviously seen you in the gym still training. And when you walked up, you had a pep in your step. So how did something like that even possibly get out? Was there any truth to it?
So I
want you to address it, obviously.
Yeah. No, it was just a lot of miscommunication and misinformation. It was an old pre-existing injury. And you guys are probably familiar. I'm sure you guys have had X-rays, MRIs. When you do that, any old fracture, break, anything like that shows up. And now the MRI technician just writes down what they see. They're not there to determine, is this new plans of action, what you can and cannot do, right? They just basically see what they see. They jot it down on a piece of paper in their medical lingo and then send it off to whatever doctor that requested you to have the images. And then you go from there. So that's what happened. They sent it in, old injury, and then just between the UFC medical staff, whoever it was getting that report, went straight to Dana and said, "Oh, hey, it says here he has a broken foot," and Dana's like, "Oh, wow, he has a broken foot, then he won't be able to fight," or the doctor told him if he has a broken foot he can't fight. So without the medical staff speaking to myself or even the Performance Institute PT, who is somebody who I work with daily, they just made that call and started jumping the gun from there.
It's just miscommunication started a trickle effect.
Yeah. And never once did I ever put the fight in question, like, hey, I don't know if I can fight or if this is blah, blah, blah. It was never like that. I was always 100%. And in fact, that morning, I guess they sent it out to Mick, Dana, and whoever else. Mick actually reached out to me. He's like, hey, buddy, I just got the report. Like, how you doing? How you feeling? And I was like, yeah, it's an old injury I've been dealing with, but I'm fine. He's like, oh, okay, so you're still fighting? And I was like, oh, 100%. And then that's when all that craziness came in, like, later that day. People texting me, sorry about it, this and that. I'm like, sorry about what? Like, what is going on? And then I see the reports, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? And at that point, I was just really more so concerned that now, because, like, maybe per doctor's orders, I might be ruled out of the fight, and not on my own, like, oh, I can't fight or anything like that. So that's what I was worried about. So I called Mick again. Mick was like, hey, I'm sorry about all of this. I'm not sure where this is really coming from and how it got to where it is. But if you can, if you're saying that you can fight like you said you could, then don't worry about it. The fight is 100% still on. The fight is 100% still your fight. So after that, I was like, okay.
How much of a nuisance was all that?
At first, it was pain in the ass, and I started getting, like, stressed out about it just because, like what I said, like, oh, what, like, now I gotta worry, like, are the doctors trying to pull me because of what this report said, and what do I have to do, this, that, whatever. But that was lasted a few hours, and my girlfriend was like, look, it's fine, you spoke to me, there's nothing you can do about it at this point, just it is what it is. So just brushed it off and went on about my business.
One thing that's different about this fight, and I don't know if this is going to be a stupid question, but it's at the Pearl, which means cage is smaller. You have a smaller cage at Extreme Couture. Do you basically stay in the smaller cage, or like who does this benefit?
I mean, I don't know what Israel does or doesn't have, but yeah, I think it benefits me. Like you said, we have a small cage, and I spent the whole camp fighting, training in that small cage.
Did you feel it? Did it feel different?
Oh, it definitely does feel different. It's a lot. I mean, maybe looking at it, it doesn't seem much smaller, but when you're actually in there, it only takes a few steps to get to your opponent. It's feel like you can feel how much smaller it is.
33% less real estate, technically. Yeah.
So that is a lot.
30 feet across for the big one.
Yeah.
25 for the smaller one. But using geometry and all that stuff, apparently it's 33% less real estate with all of it.
Yeah. No, but yeah, you definitely feel it. Because I feel like when you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, that's a smaller cage, but it doesn't seem that much different. But then when you're actually in there, standing across your opponent, in the big cage, they seem pretty far away. In the small cage, it takes like a hop, skip, and you guys are locked up.
Yeah. Well, this is a big weekend for the middleweight division. Uriah Hall and Paulo Costa as well. So very cool that you and Uriah got to kind of camp together, peek together, all that stuff. Another great thing is Uriah can give you a Adesanya look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's got kickboxing skills like your opponent does.
Yeah, definitely. Uriah is one of those guys too that he's doing things that not the average guy does. Super gifted and really like tricky as far as stand up and the kickboxing goes, and he can really. I think he's much more explosive than Adesanya. also I think he's physically bigger, you know. Not maybe as long as Adesanya. Adesanya looks pretty tall, long, but Uriah is definitely much bigger. So it was great. It was a great opportunity to get to train with him. But not just him. We have Danny Davis, who's a lot like
a body type.
Yeah, and maybe not on that exact striking level as Adesanya might be, and not have those accolades as far as the striking goes. But as far as an MMA fighter goes, I think Danny's a better MMA fighter. We also had Chris Thompson, you know, who's also that long, tall, kickboxing look. So I had some good guys this camp. Got some good looks.
You know, it's great that you're saying all these things about Uriah. Teammates always do. But even yesterday, when we were at the Performance Institute, Uriah got to talk to the media, and people were asking him about his opponent, young Brazilian, young Vitor Belfort, they're calling him. And so we went through that series of questions, but then I remember at one point he goes, "Man, I'm ready. I'm in a great gym." He goes, "And are you kidding me?" He goes, "I've been getting my ass kicked by Brad Tavares. I'm ready for anyone." And hearing what you're saying about him, that's so cool. You know, two guys in the same division that have helped each other. But let's rewind a little bit. Tell us about, if you can remember, either the first time you met Uriah, or just your first few workouts with Uriah. Was it always smooth, or was there ever like friction? You know, like how long did it take before you guys were like homies and fist bumping and had that kind of trust in each other?
As far as it goes for me, I liked Uriah right off the bat. I remember when he first came, he was coming from, I believe, either Kings or Reign at the time. He was coming from a Cali gym, and when he first came out, he wasn't out here and living out here yet. You know, he was kind of just testing the waters, I think. And he came in a few times, but I was excited to train with him. I always am. I think I was having this conversation with somebody just recently about me personally. When I meet somebody who is in the UFC, who's in the middleweight division, who I potentially might fight, like, yeah, that thought is in the back of my head. But at the same time, it's like there's so many opponents out there that you kind of expect that, you know, and you kind of approach it like, oh, I don't want anything to do with you because we might fight. At my gym, people ask me all the time, hey, is it cool if this guy comes in? Is it cool if that guy comes in? And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. I only feel like it'll make us better. And, I mean, one day in the future, if we fight, it is what it is. I've invited Julian Marquez, Eric Sanchez, Spicely, everybody, every 85er that's in the UFC that's out here, I've invited them over to come train, you know. Just we can make each other better. And that's how I felt about Uriah. And it was always one of those things, like where he was and where I am. Yeah, it was a definite, like, yeah, we definitely could be fighting each other. But when he became more of a steady staple there at Couture, and then he actually moved out here and became our teammate. At that point, it was like, all right, I would not fight Uriah unless it was for, like, you know, title contention or something. He became a friend. But as far as training goes, you know, I've always embraced him, and I've always tried to get work with him because, you know, he's one of the best out there.
Does it help that you have seniority in the gym? Because you would imagine if, you know, the 6 guys that you mentioned, I think there were 6, if it ever came down to that, not all of them are all full-time Extreme Couture guys, but you would probably have the gym, right?
I'll give you all the money in my pocket if you can name all 6.
Spicely, Marquez, Uriah. Who else did he say?
I don't think it was 6, but
was it only 3?
No,
there's one more.
There's one more.
Who was the other one?
I was expecting 6, but
was it Meek? No, who did he say?
No, he's a 7-year.
I'm watching Brad, 'cause I know Brad wants to throw him a clue right now.
Is there one more?
There's 4 of them that I named.
4?
I believe.
So I'm missing one. I don't know who the other one was. Who's the other one?
Do you know it?
Spicely.
Oh, no, okay, yeah.
I heard Spicely, Marquez, Uriah, obviously. But isn't it that guy that always rolls with Spice? Is it? Wait, he's got a Hispanic last name. Montanez? No. He was on Tough. Him and Spicy are like this. He's a wrestler.
Starts with an S.
El Dirte.
El Dirte.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yeah. That would have been $8.
I didn't even hear that part. What was that?
I said
about?
everything I have in my
He
pocket.
said
I thought there was
everything he has in his
I thought there was a 20 in there. So in the end, it only would have hurt me for $8.
I thought you were gonna Roger Craig me again.
No, but yeah, I've invited those guys. Julian has come out to train. Sanchez. I think Spicely relocated again. I think he might went to TriStar or something again. Not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm always open to train with these guys. For instance, in the past where it had happened was I was training over at Syndicate. That was for that brief moment where we were all sparring at Syndicate, and Lawrence Larkin had come in, and he had just recently signed to the UFC, and I knew it was definitely possible for us to fight. But I was like, yeah, let's get some work, and I'm sure he held back some things, and so did I. You don't, and in that instance when you're somebody just stops in rather than becoming like a teammate or a consistent training partner, then you kind of hold back a little bit. But it's still all love, It's like we still got good working together. We still was able. It's not like we were just out there pitter patter, touching each other. Or on the other end, we weren't trying to kill each other. I had a lot of fun training with Lawrence, and then we ended up fighting.
Do you know that you have something else in common with Lawrence? Can you name it?
I don't know. We fight.
I'll give you all the money in George's pocket if you get this right.
If I have that, we have something in common. We're men.
Oh, come on.
We have kids.
You both went
Does he have a
on
kid?
JBLE, yeah.
Okay, Lawrence has a
JBLE
kid?
tours.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he went on the first
He's
one.
a super cool dude, yeah.
Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah, I really like him.
Goes trying to turn this into a game show.
Oh, why not?
You also went to Kings, right? A few times?
No, I did go out there. I did go out there once. Awesome trip.
You just happened to be in town, or you just wanted to get a new workout in, or what?
I just wanted to go out there and check it out. At the time, Ali was managing a bunch of those guys, and still is, that train there.
Ali manages everybody.
Yeah, he does. So it was just something just get out of Vegas. Different atmosphere, different scenery, different looks, different people,
Did you
different
go on a Friday?
feel. Yeah, sparring.
That's when they throw down, right?
Yeah. And it was funny, so what is so funny about that is that people talk about that gym, and even Uriah would say oh, they spar hard there, this and that. So it was me, my friend John Pico, and my friend Puni Pago, and so we went out there and we had been hearing all of this. So the whole week it felt almost like a fight week. Okay, we're doing this and this, but Friday, oh, we gotta scrap. You know what I mean? And you always know, when you go into somebody's gym, they see you as the fresh meat, the green light is on you, so you gotta be able to stand your ground. But I didn't feel like that. I seen guys throwing down in there to where in our gym, if that was happening, people would have been like, whoa, chill, guys, chill, you guys getting out of hand. But instead, they're cheering it on, yeah, they want blood. But no, great gym. I got to spar with the who's of people in there. Lyoto Machida, Shogun Hua, Fabricio Verdum, and that was when he was a champion.
You got in there with Verdum?
Yeah, I got in there with Verdum.
It's a big dude.
Yeah, he is. And
did he start by running across and doing the?
Nah. He's actually super controlled.
Karate kick.
He's actually super controlled. I mean, he's a big dude. I'm sure if he wanted to, he could have probably tried to take my head off, but that wasn't the case. We got good work in, and I mean, at the time, he was a heavyweight champion, and he gave me one of the best compliments I feel like I've ever gotten. So he was telling me that he was when you approach sparring, you should approach it you want to win, keep track of your rounds, how you did today. So if you do 5 rounds, what was your record? So if you won all 5 rounds against everybody you went with, you're 5-0, or whatever it was. And then he was and you keep track of that. And then so the next time you spar, let's say you feel you lost 2 rounds and who you lost them to and why did you lose to them. And then next week you go back and you try to get those rounds back, So, yeah, and he was telling me, he was we were striking. I feel like we were pretty even. And then I shot in on him took him down. He reversed me, and then I think I like swept him again or something. And at the end of it, I ended up on top. So he was like, "Oh, it was a really close round. So I think you won that round." And I was like, "Oh, this is the heavyweight champion telling me that I won a round with him." And granted, I'm not delusional. I know that there's a huge weight difference there, and I know that if he really wanted to, I'm not taking it like it's a fight and I just beat the heavyweight champion. But still, for somebody in his position to tell somebody like me that, a smaller guy,
are you gonna be pissed if there's some blogger out there that says, "Today I heard Tavares on Twitter.
The headline
got the best of Verdum or something."
Tavares, has he got the best of Verdum?
Yeah, there's probably some idiot that will try to twist it. But no, I'll call him and I'll tell him exactly what I said. I said, "You can listen to it. I just said exactly what you told me." But no, it was fun training there. It was fun training with Verdum. Was one of the highlights of it. Like, that guy is really.
He's good energy, huh?
He is.
He's a character.
He's a character. He's a character, and he's always trying to like help you. Somebody in his position, being at that time the heavyweight champion, you got like, okay, I can understand him wanting to help another fellow UFC fighter, but he doesn't have to do anything for me. He doesn't know me, But then even like the guys that I came with who are in the MMA world, nobodies, but for him to just take the time and even one thing that he was telling us is like, hey, which made sense, is like, hey, you guys should tape up all the gear you have. Unless they sponsor you, tape it up, because anytime you take a picture or whatever, it's free advertisement to them, and unless they're giving you gear or paying you, they shouldn't be getting it. And I was like, oh wow, that actually kind of makes sense. Like, why should these companies are getting this free advertisement off of fighters when they have to buy the gear?
Have you applied that? Do you tape your stuff?
No, all the stuff that I wear has been given to me, so sponsored to me. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
You gonna tape your pro wings?
So Brad, the next time I'm there, probably Big Glove Day. This will be months down the road after your fight. I'm gonna officially keep score. You guys do 6 rounds though sometimes at Extreme, huh?
Yeah, sometimes 6 rounds.
So I'm gonna keep score. I'm gonna try and do it on a day where I catch you off guard. If I do it like in a few weeks, I think you'll see me go, oh, that motherfucker's gonna score around. So I'm gonna wait a little bit, and then one day I'm gonna come and give you my scorecard, tell you how you did.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the most part, I'm a very competitive person. I always want to win. I always try to win. But I'm not like a knucklehead. I'm not trying to go crazy to get the win in training. And I feel like I'm also a good training partner. If I have good training partners that, give me the looks I need and are the bodies that I need. So when it's their turn, I'll be that. Like, if, I don't know, for instance, when Emo fought Kamaru, I tried to more mimic. Like, at first when we were sparring, I was doing my style, like kicks and speed and, doing me. But that wasn't who they saw Kamaru as, so I tried to adjust my style to that. And then it wasn't going so well for me at that point, just because that's not what I'm used to. That's not who I am, but that's me trying to give, a friend, training partner a look. And I'll do that. And if I'm losing, so be it. I'm there for them.
You know who my favorite guys are to watch spar?
At Extreme Couture or anywhere?
Yeah, at Extreme Couture.
Who I think you like?
Yeah.
It's got to be Uriah Hall.
Well, I like Brad and Uriah. They have a really fun dynamic. So those two for sure. Uriah Hall is pretty amazing in the sense that even if he doesn't land, sometimes he just throws these crazy kicks,
Mm-hmm.
And then you just think, God, had that landed, But Ray's fun to watch. I just get a kick out of him. He's got his different defenses, and he's always watching and winking at people, kind of like, watch this. And sometimes if you get him, he goes out of his way to get you back. But, again, he always holds back. Ali's hilarious. Ali's just out there. He's just kind of mixing it up and talking. You know what I mean? And he does this. His go-to move, I noticed yesterday, is like a Superman wind-up that he has. It's like this. And then he finishes it up with a kick. So I get a kick out of Ali. And then Benavidez is fun to watch just because I saw yesterday him and
Tim Elliott.
Him and I forgot his name. Used to fight at Combate. The 135.
Gustavo?
Gustavo, yeah. Gustavo Lopez. They had a fun little exchange, you know. So, but there's a few you guys out there that I always just enjoy watching because
you guys probably don't know him, but he's a young kid. He used to have long hair, but he just recently cut it, like faded
the young
it.
Mike Powell looking guy.
He had like a mullet, but he's not. No. You're thinking of the white guy. This is a Hawaiian kid, Puni. He has a sleeve on his arm.
Yeah. He's fun to watch too.
Yeah. You guys watch him ever?
I think they call him your stunt double, right, or something.
Who? Puni.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just my little. Let's say he's like my
he's
little
the
brother.
Like you, right?
No. Oh,
the guy that looks just like.
Yeah. No. Okay, that's Ty.
Ty?
Yeah, that's Ty. People confuse me and him all the time.
Yeah.
But he's southpaw. But we're like exact same size. He has like all the same tattoos. We even kind of look alike. Like we'll go places. We were on the plane once, flying to LA, I believe, and like a chick walks on and she walks past us and she's like we're sitting on opposite aisles, and then she's like looking at us. She's like, "Are you guys brothers?" And we just start laughing. We get that all the time. But yeah, no, that kid, he's gotten so like from where. Just in the time that he's gotten, like how good he's gotten, because he was like kind of like training, you know, just whatever. Oh, this is cool. I want to do it. But then lately, over like the last year and a half, I would say, he's gotten like super serious, or not super serious, but just consistent, and then he's just gone from like here to here like that. Like I remember, like I feel like it was just yesterday when I had to like kind of go easy because I was like kind of catching him and cracking him. And then now I'll catch myself like 2 minutes in, like, oh, I'm getting my ass kicked. I need to step it up. I need to take it to him a little bit.
And there's this another kid. I mentioned him about a month ago. You might remember the name. He is a white fella. He looks like he's older than he is. He's got some gray hair in him. But this dude likes to go hard.
TV.
Tibor. Yeah.
That guy likes to go hard, you know. And he looks like a tourist that said, "Can I do it?" And you guys said, "Yeah, sure, come on in." And so he's going out there, and a lot of the fighters are like, "What the fuck?" You know, like, and then they give it back, and he does not give a fuck, man. He's fun to watch too.
No,
like,
he is.
Sometimes I just like to go hang back, and that's why you'll see me in just the civilians if I'm not doing my PT. And just hang back and watch. I get a kick out of it. It's just good to be in the gym. But that dude's fun to watch too.
TB, yep, Tebow. He's actually fighting in Lion Fight soon. I think end of July, maybe August. Whenever.
Couture fights tonight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ryan,
Bellator, yeah.
I was thinking Randy's fighting again.
We gotta take a break, right?
Yeah.
Have we done any?
We haven't, and we got to do this.
All right, so let's do that. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. This is UFC middleweight, Brad Tavares in studio with us. He headlines Tough 27 finale on July 6th. That's next Friday versus Israel Adesanya.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
That's right. All around the world. You wanted it, right? Same song? Right, Brett?
That's what he's walking up to.
Yo, we've been all around the world.
Is that what this is called? Same song?
This is old school. This is about 30 years ago.
This is what you're walking out to?
Nah.
I said same song.
No, same song as
All Around the World by Justin Bieber?
Yeah. Is that a song?
Keep it going, Danny.
You know Justin Bieber songs?
That's what pops up on Google.
No, I was saying the same song that I always do.
Yeah. Well, we're talking right now. We're bringing back the MMA Junkie radio show. With the song in the background, I like it. You know, Tupac is in this song, Brad.
Is he?
Yeah, you're gonna.
This is where he started.
I like Brad's walk-up
Tupac
song.
movie?
Oh, yeah. This is that.
He was asking for more time because he would have these little parts in the screen.
And this is the song?
Yeah. You like it?
Yeah, let's get to the Tupac
Bump it a
part.
little bit, Danny.
Where is the Tupac part?
It's just the same old song.
It's going up.
Tupac is my favorite.
East Coasters won't like to hear that. I think this is him. But no. Yeah.
Up and down. Well, as a matter of fact, I'll be right back. I gotta take a leak. So I'm draining entertainers, but I got fame and the bases I touch. Too much for me to try to be naming. Hey yo, you saw me on
jam still holds up.
I busted in and I was going to win. Like Clark Gable back in Oakland. It's the same old song for sporty shorty, same freckles and hat, drinking the same Ford.
Hypothetical, political, lyrical, miracle whip, just like butter.
So walk up to this.
Dude, the crowd would go nuts.
He just made that up to get your way.
What? The crowd would go nuts. Here it is.
Now I clown around when I hang around with the underground. Girls used to frown, say I'm down when I come around. Gas me, and when they pass me, they used to diss me, harass me. But now they ask me if they can kiss me. Get your fame, people
my
change
favorite
when I
rapper.
live their life. High same
Of all
song,
time? All time.
if I play the nice guy.
Ever.
I remain
Forever.
I remain still the
Hey,
same.
you're Hawaiian. You know who I'll tell you after.
Alright, let's go there. That is same song by Digital Underground, old school, even young Brad Tavares. What are you, 32?
30.
30? He hadn't heard of it. I think the song came out before you were born.
Yeah. I haven't. I do recall that scene though in the Tupac movie where they're doing that.
Kind of reminds me of Tupac.
Oh yeah.
Even
You guys
chick from the railroad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought the same thing too when she was on it.
Ruthie?
Ruthie, yeah.
That was her name. She did look like Tupac, man.
I thought the same.
That chick was crazy.
Oh yeah,
All
she
right.
was kind of off.
Yeah, we do have to talk to one more guest here before we end the week. So we'll take a quick timeout from Brad Tavares, UFC middleweight, hanging out with us. His name is Lewis Taylor. Put the guns down. That's his nickname. He's 14-4 overall. He'll be facing Anderson Goncalves at PFL 3 on July 5th. That takes place in Washington, D.C. These are middleweights. He joins us now on the hotline. So, Lewis, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm out here in hot Chicago, ready to get to Washington and put that work in.
You just heard that old school reference of Digital Underground, that song, right?
Yeah, it's not old to me. I'm old, so it was right on point for me.
Well, I was going to go old school yet again.
He's my age.
On your Sherdog picture, you kind of look like Louis Gossett Jr. in An Officer and a Gentleman. Did you ever see that movie? All we need to do is put that hat on you, and you really look like one of them drill sergeants, man. Like, hey, I don't play. Give me 100 push-ups right now.
Yeah, I was known as Sergeant Boo Boo and Major Taylor, so it probably would fit.
All right. So listen, man. You know, I got to ask you the same thing we've been asking a lot of the fighters. Just give us your first impression of PFL, what they've done, what they presented to you, and the fact that you can win $1 million if you go 5-0 in the next 6 months.
I'm glad first of all, you said 5-0. People keep acting like it's a one and done thing, you know. So first of all, my goal is to go 5-0 and to get through each opponent one by one. And the $1 million is just, you know, a payday. In the end, after taxes, you're still going to end up with probably like $125 per fight. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Each fight gets me closer to $125,000 per fight.
Okay. Yeah, that is an interesting take. You're right. Uncle Sam does always get a piece, and you do have to make it to the finals to get the $1 million. It's going to be some hard work, but a lot of the fighters, I think, slowly are adapting to the rules. But I don't know if I'm sure you know this, but there's some fighters that still have been caught by surprise with certain things. Did you know that when you start the playoff, it's going to be 2 fights in one night? Have you even started thinking that far, and have you been adapting your camps any differently because of all this?
For me, I've been waiting. They told me I came over from the WSOF, days. So I actually fought for the last middleweight belt when I fought David Branch. And when they was making the transition, a lot of the upper echelon jumped ship. Morales, Gaethje, Branch, everybody jumped ship, but I wasn't a big enough name to get off the boat. But they were supposed to start it in January, so I've been waiting since then. And then it's but now it's here. I'm definitely ready. And the biggest thing for me is not the 2 fights in one night. It's the no elbows to the body. That's probably the biggest catch up for me, because in grounding and pounding, elbows is just a big thing. And I understand if you're not throwing them to the head for not injury reasons, but not to the body. If I hit you with an elbow to the body, it'll open up your face. So it kind of, on the ground, it kind of ties things up, makes it more different. So I'm going to have to experience that for the first time. But beyond that, everything else, I'm ready to go. I've been doing wrestling since high school and college, so I'm used to two and 3 and 4 in one night. And then, once you're in there, it goes really fast anyway. You go, you take a nap, you get back up, you go to work. So that's not gonna change much.
Lewis Taylor, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio, fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, 14-4 overall. 5 of the 14 wins, he's got 5 by KO, 7 by submission. What do you have for Lewis Taylor?
I just got what he meant by if I elbow him in the body, it opens up his face. At first I thought, man, this guy's got a hell of an elbow. He's bashing dude's face with that. But I finally get it. But anyways, Lewis, is it tough to not get consumed with watching footage on your opponent, figuring out what it is he's trying to do, and not get lost in the fact that you got to bring your own game?
I mean, for me, especially the majority of the PFL rosters are also all foreign fighters. So, you really can't get a good sense of who you're fighting until you're in there with them anyway. So I'm not really paying much attention to the fight footage, because, like you said, you'll get lost in it. And again, I don't know much about my guys. 11-1, and most of the foreign guys they bringing over have pretty solid records on paper, but we don't know who they fought really. So there's still that big question mark. And then on top of that, 80% of the footage you can't even find anyway, because they're again lost somewhere in the jungles of Brazil. So I can't worry about so I can't worry about that. I just got to get ready to take out each opponent one by one.
Nice. All right. And what would you do if you win that money? What's the first thing you're going to do with all that?
Pretty much nothing. Probably go on a vacation and get back to. I mean, it's not that much money, to be honest. I mean, seriously. People are like, oh, it's $1 million. It sounds good, but it's not that much money. It's not. You can go broke in a year or two if you're not smart. But it would be good to have investment if I wanted to open up my gym, if I wanted to start a few businesses. It does give me the freedom to have that capital. And and that startup money. That's what I look at that money as startup money. Now you have the money to invest in yourself and your family, and if you fail, you won't be broke or in debt. You still have a little bit more to try again. So it gives me efforts. It gives me the ability to chase new dreams after MMA. But as far as like spending wise, it's just startup money, because I got to take this meal and turn it into 4 mil. Take that 4 mil and turn it into 16.
Wow. All right. You recovered there, Lewis, because I almost stopped you halfway and said, you're tripping. If you were walking down the street and you saw a bag and you looked in there and there was $1 million, you wouldn't go, oh, that's nothing. You'd go, wow, it's $1 million, and lose your voice and go nuts. And then you're saying, I'm going to do nothing, but going on a vacation is actually something. It refreshes you. You get to spend family time. So you were a little bit glass half empty there for a second.
A vacation's nice. but you got to look at look at your top cars. You know, the top cars 200,000, 400. You feel me? A house and a car, you're done. That million's gone. You know.
Well, you just want to put a down payment on the house. You don't want to pay it off. You want to have that tax write off.
Yeah, no, not with the PMIs.
You wouldn't be chilling with like an $80,000 car, every $60,000 car.
I'm just saying. People look at it like, oh man, you know, oh you got $1 million, you got to go cop something nice. No, I'll get a Jeep or something. I'm gonna get something 70, 80 grand, if that. But you know,
still
I'm
expensive as a Jeep, 70, 80 grand.
Yeah. Exactly. Until I can flip this mill ain't nothing. But it will give me the opportunity to flip it.
Fair enough. All right, Lewis. Thanks for spending some time with us here today. We look forward to your fight next Thursday at PFL 3 versus Anderson Goncalves. We really appreciate your time today. All right, bud?
Thank you, guys. Have a good day, fellas.
All right, you too.
Hello, my brother.
Okay. Big shout out to Greg Savage for lining that up. But now it's also time for the daily debate. And we have a pro fighter here to hang out with us and chime in.
It's fucking debate, guys.
Yeah, well, this one's not so much on the debate. It could turn into debate. It could just be a slam dunk all the way around. But here it goes. With an action-packed July coming up in the UFC, which fight are you looking forward to the most? Here are your 4 choices. Cormier versus Miocic, Holloway versus Ortega, Lewis versus Ngannou, or Alvarez versus Poirier. You go first, Goes.
I am going to go with Ortega and Holloway. Only because every time I play it out in my head, I can come up with different scenarios. But I think it's going to be a fun fight.
Dan?
I got a cosign there. I was going to go Poirier toward Poirier. He's always going to deliver no matter who he's with. But when I look at Ortega and Holloway, the possibilities are crazy, but just also where they're at in their careers. They're at their point of their careers where they're not just in their prime, but they're still making crazy, crazy jumps to where we could see different fighters each time they come out. So I don't even know what to think of that one. I'm going to go Ortega, Holloway.
Brad Tavares?
Tavares Adesanya.
Nice.
For sure.
Okay.
He threw in a D option.
An E.
There's 4. Oh, yeah. There's 4.
All right.
But outside of that, definitely Max and Ortega.
Max and Ortega.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hear what you guys are saying. 2 young lions like that peaking, you know, in an epic fight. They both bring excellent records. Ortega hasn't even lost a fight ever. It is going to be everywhere. And I know Poirier and Alvarez has that barn burner type feel. But to me, there's something historic about Cormier and Miocic. So I'm going to go with that one. Miocic arguably could be the greatest heavyweight ever. And DC, with this accomplishment, is in the conversation for greatest of all time. So there you have it, folks. That's today's daily debate. 1,586 of you voted. 47% went with Cormier, Miocic. 41% went with Holloway and Ortega. 7% with Lewis and Ngannou. By the way, we didn't even talk about that fight. And that one's, you know, someone's going to sleep there. And then 5% to Alvarez and Poirier. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius 67 Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back.
With how to whistle.
But let's not talk
Here are
about
Gorgeous
that.
George and Goes.
I want to thank all of our guests for the whole week. Ben Folks, Rob Font, John Morgan, Emil Meek, TJ Dillashaw, Johnny Hendricks, T. Edwards, Valentina Shevchenko, Antonina Shevchenko, Joe Giannetti, Rick Story, Christian Aguilera, Ryan Couture, Lewis Taylor, and our guest here in studio right now, Brad Tavares. Brad will be fighting next Friday against Israel Adesanya at the Tough 27 finale. They are the main event. And good luck to Christian Aguilera and Ryan Couture. Both came on the show today. Both fight tonight. LFA 44 for Aguilera, Bellator 201 for Couture. Fighters who do this show on the day of their fight are 61-14. It's junkie karma, folks. It works. All right. Goes, you said I gave you the option. Would you like me to ask you this question off the air or during the show? You said, tell me during the show. So I wanted to ask you. I thought about it. And when you submitted the daily debate question, why didn't you include Adesanya and Brad Tavares as one of the 4 options?
Because it was initially different the way we were doing it. It was
goes.
It was good. It was supposed to be. He was initially on it, and it was supposed to be. What was it?
Let's hear this bullshit excuse now.
I'll vouch for him.
Yeah, there was something different about it, and it got changed at the end.
Yeah, it did.
I swear.
We don't get final words on these things.
You believe
in
him,
Brad?
I don't know.
What was it?
He had his chance too. We could have done this all
I
off
think
air. He was
originally,
like, no, save it for the show.
I think originally it was originally
You
it was non-main events, and he was excluded, and then I don't know what happened, but that's not the way it ended up. The way we submitted
Look,
it.
it goes as worming.
I'll vouch for him. I see the transcripts
chain.
on back. Yeah, I'll vouch for him there.
Yeah.
I'll vouch for
Trust
him.
me, I was trying.
Really, I'd like to see these transcripts.
I'd like to see the documents. Show me the documents. George would like to see the documents.
Oh man, this is hilarious. All right.
He's pulling it up too. He's pulling it up.
It's been a fun time. Brad's working his way up. He will be one of these pay-per-view main eventers one day. Brad, hey, good luck, man. 1 week to go. Stay healthy. Do your thing next Friday against Israel Adesanya. Appreciate you coming by too. We got to get out of here, folks. That's why we did the show 1 hour early. We're headed to Bellator out in Temecula, California. Thanks, Chris, for the coffees, your support. He's one of the guys that's already signed up for the Junkie Gathering. Get a hold of me if you want to go to the Junkie Gathering. All right, folks. Have a nice weekend. Once again, big shout out to our Pops. It's his 74th birthday. We're out of here. Be champions.
Happy birthday.